You know, when chaos strikes, the words we use are incredibly important. They can either add to the confusion or they can become these powerful tools for getting things done. There's a very specific kind of language that pops up in these moments. It's direct, it's super clear, and it's all about cutting through the noise and the fear. So, what are these critical words and how do they actually help us turn panic into a solid plan? Let's break it down. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a crisis situation and your mind just goes blank? You're totally speechless. It's a really common reaction, right? When you need to be the clearest. So how do we find the right words when literally every single second counts? Well, we're about to explore the simple, powerful vocabulary that first responders and honestly everyday people use to take control. All right, so every crisis starts with that one single moment, that sudden, totally disorienting event. Before we can even think about helping, we have to be able to say what happened. So let's look at the simple, absolutely crucial verbs that paint that first picture. It can start with something as seemingly minor as a trip. Now, trip seems like a small word, but if you're on an emergency call, it instantly communicates a sudden, uncontrolled fall. And that one moment can lead to some pretty major consequences. Then the impact can escalate. To bang something, that's not just a light bump. The key here is sharp blow. It's an impact that immediately signals a potential injury. You know, think about banging your head on something. That jolt instantly tells you, uh-oh, something's not right. And then, of course, there's the big one, to crash. This word implies a violent collision. With just this one word, the entire situation is instantly understood as a serious medical emergency. It changes everything. The incident itself is over in a flash, but what comes next is absolutely critical. In those first few seconds, it is all about assessing the injury with as much speed and clarity as you can possibly muster. In a moment of pure chaos, your brain needs a simple checklist. First responders are trained to do what's called a primary check, and it all boils down to just 3 questions. Are they conscious? Are they breathing? And do they have a pulse? This simple sequence brings immediate order to a crazy situation. Now that first question is the most fundamental of all. Conscious or unconscious? Being conscious just means you're awake, you're aware. Unconscious is the complete opposite, and it is an immediate red flag. It signals a much, much more serious situation. Making that distinction is the first critical piece of information you need to figure out. Next up is the pulse. That's the direct physical proof that the heart is still beating. That little rhythmic push you feel in an artery, that's a fundamental sign of life. If you can't find one, the emergency has just been kicked up to the highest possible level. Okay, so you've assessed the situation as best you can. Now you have to communicate it. This is the moment you make that critical call for professional help. This is the question you're going to hear on the other end of the line, and your answer, it needs to be a powerful, quick summary of everything you just observed. All that chaos has to be boiled down into just a few essential words. And this is where that specific vocabulary becomes so vital. Instead of saying, my friend fell and he isn't waking up, you just state the fact. He's unconscious. Instead of, I don't think he's okay, you report the data. He's not breathing, or I can't find a pulse. Look, this isn't about being cold. It's about being clear and efficient. This is the kind of information that gets the right help sent your way fast. So while you're waiting for help to arrive, your role actually shifts a little bit. It's not just about reporting facts anymore. It's about managing fear. It's about the power of calm words. Panic is a totally natural reaction, but it's also contagious. The alternative, though, is an active choice to keep a cool head. Your own sense of calm is a tool. It can actually de-escalate the victim's own fear and create this little pocket of safety right in the middle of all the chaos. A phrase like, stay calm, help is on the way, is incredibly powerful. It does 2 really critical things at once. It gives a direct, simple instruction, stay calm, and it delivers a concrete promise, help is on the way. That combination directly fights that awful feeling of being alone and helpless. Now this is pure reassurance. In a moment of intense pain or fear, a person's entire world just shrinks down to that one terrible experience. This phrase pushes back against that. It offers a vision of a future beyond the crisis. It's such a powerful message of hope that things can and will get better. And really, that is the ultimate goal here, to reassure. It's about actively using your words to remove someone's doubts and their fears. In that moment, your voice becomes a lifeline, bridging that terrifying gap between the incident and when the professionals arrive. And then, help has arrived. The journey now moves to a new place, a place of order and expertise, inside the emergency room. Now, this is such a fascinating contrast to the chaos of the incident itself, right? In the ER, there's a clear, logical path. They'll examine the patient, maybe take an x-ray to see what's going on, and then provide treatment, like a bandage or a cast. And finally, if everything checks out, they're released. It's a whole system designed to restore order. And with this new stage comes a whole new vocabulary. A patient is released from the hospital. That's the formal word for being allowed to go home. And the hope, the real goal, is that they'll soon be up and about again, which is just a wonderful, simple phrase that means back on their feet and getting back to normal life. So we've seen how a few simple, precise words can literally build a path from chaos all the way to recovery. This language gives us structure, it gives us clarity, and it gives us comfort. But it also reveals something much deeper. What does our reliance on this specific language, this need to describe, to check in, to reassure, what does it truly tell us about our fundamental need for connection when we are at our absolute most vulnerable?